Hey, welcome back to the Corporate Finance Academy. Today we just want to do a quick video to let you know why the annual operating plan is important. What benefit does it serve and why would you do it? And we're going to use just kind of a practical example of owning an ice cream shop to explain why. Okay, so quick introduction to what an annual operating plan is. We're not going to spend a ton of time on this. It has many names. Company might call it something specific, but typically you have a few things that you're trying to accomplish. You're trying to define the company's strategic goals for a year, maybe a little bit longer, sometimes 3 years or 5 years, but typically you're talking about the rest of the current year and the next year. You want to get everybody aligned behind that. And part of that is specifying what the company's financial targets are going to be, what everybody's budgets will be, how much they can spend. And ultimately, this is really how we evaluate the business and the leadership of the company, or even many people throughout the company, and whether or not they get their incentive-based pay. Do they get their bonuses? And you also need to understand the cash position and funding requirements of the business. And there's many other reasons. But let's jump into a very practical example of why you might want to know this. So let's say you owned an ice cream shop, and it's your main source of income. That's your job. And you're really sick of your POS car, and you want a Tesla, one of the really badass Teslas with the bat wing doors, whatever you call it. That's what you want. But I just went to the Tesla website, and this will cost you $7,500 down and almost $1,300 a month for 6 years. So can you really rely on your ice cream shop to give you that much money? You would want to know that before you go put that money down. Even if you have the down payment, you need to know if you can pay $1,300 a month for the next 6 years. Okay, so getting into the actual budget process, I'm going to go through this high level. Down the road, we're going to have a very detailed example of how you go through this in a spreadsheet, but this is really just to conceptualize the idea. So if you're going to create a budget, the first thing you need to do is you really need to understand how much ice cream you're going to sell. So that's your sales budget. I mean, that's the first question that you would probably ask yourself if you're going to know if you have enough money to buy your car. So an easy way to do this is to look at how much you sold last year. Look at any new information you have, and that'll tell you what you're going to sell this year. So let's just say you sold $600,000 last year, but you know you got your ice cream into a couple of grocery stores. You're going to sell some merchandise. You're raising your price a little. You think you're going to sell $1 million this year. It's a detail, but you may also think about when you sell your ice cream. Your ice cream is a seasonal product, so you need to think about that. So now you know what you're going to sell. The next question you're probably going to ask yourself is, well, how much can I make? Or can I make all of this? And that's really your production budget. When you look at your production budget, you also need to think about how much product you already have. Now, ice cream is a perishable product, so you're not going to have maybe as much inventory as if you were selling tires or something that has a longer shelf life. But anyway, you have ice cream in your freezer. You also don't want to run out. And as you go through your production budget, you're also going to ask yourself the question of, do I have enough equipment to make it? So if you're making ice cream, you have some machines. You need to know if the machines you have are capable of making $1 million worth of sales of ice cream. So then you know how much you're going to sell. You figure out how much you have to make. And the next question is, how much does it cost you to make all that ice cream? And that's your cost of goods sales budget. And you're typically going to look at this in the buckets of materials, labor, and overhead. And you're going to base it on the production budget, because ultimately how much you produce is how much cost you're likely to incur. But you got to look at what else you'll spend too, right? So you're going to pay employees that are not direct labor, your salaried employees, maybe somebody that's working the front desk of your ice cream shop. You're going to have advertising and marketing, other supplies. You may have to purchase new machinery, which would be your CapEx budget. So when you step back and you look at a map of what your budgeting process looks like, you start with your annual budget. You have your overall, you go to your sales, your production budgets. Then you're going to do all of your cost buckets, right? Your cost of goods sold, R&D, CapEx, SG&A. Your COGS is going to help inform what your inventory budget looks like. And then at the end of the day, you're going to flow all of that information into your financial statements. So at the highest level, the budgeting process is fairly simple. Now, getting into the details of how to set it and do it well, that can be a little trickier. So that's all we have for today. Just a quick video to give you that background. Hopefully that helps. Be sure to subscribe, like the video, and check out all of our other videos.